And welcome into Scotty Park this afternoon for a doubleheader of Jayhawk Conference action on the Scotty Sports Network. Mike Smith alongside with you here for Highland Community College Sports on the Scotty Sports Network. 19-4 record for the Lady Scotty softball program, ranked 6th in the country, taking on a fellow ranked team in the Jayhawk Conference in Johnson County today, who's 15-7 and 8-0 in conference play. Johnson enters today having won 9 in a row. The Scotties have won the last 2 contests in a row and won 5 of the last 6 entering here today. Scotty's losses have all been relatively close throughout the course of the season. Outside of the season opener, 3 of the 4 losses are just by 1 run. The worst loss was the 8-0 in the season opener, but they bounced back by beating Northern Oklahoma in the second game of that doubleheader. Johnson's played in some close games of their own and ranked in the top 20 rankings, that is. They've actually jumped up to number 12. I might have said 16, but it's actually number 12, up a few spots this week in the polls. They opened up the season with 3 losses, but won here 9 in a row entering this matchup against Highland Community College. So this would go a long way for Highland to set themselves up in a good spot in the Jayhawk Conference. 10-2 record in conference play for the Scotties, so they've obviously logged a couple more games in conference play than Johnson has, and we'll see that if Johnson was able to pick up 2 wins here, that would put them a little bit ahead of Highland with a nice margin, and we'll see how it sets up. Kelly Youthy pitching for Highland, fires in a little navy blue numerals and letters, a little trim as well with the gold trim, yellowish. And Youthy gets a little pop-up out towards third base side, diving for it, but falling short in her pursuit. That time was Sam Moran, who's playing over at third. So strike 2 and 0-2 the count to Sammy Bates. Bates again, the right fielder, batting first. Bailey Nelson will bat second and play center field for Johnson today. Madison Winger will bat third. She's the catcher. Shay Tolbert batting in the number 4 spot, playing in left field. First baseman Haley Bren will bat 5th. Pitch swung on and missed, and down on strikes on 3 pitches is Bates for out number 1 for Kelly Youthy and Highland Scotty crew. Finishing out the order for Johnson today, Kerrigan Dixon, the pitcher, bats 6th. Kelsey Orander, the designated player, will bat 7th. Allie Hyman will bat 8th and play at the hot corner third base. And second baseman Alexis Ramos will bat in the 9th spot. Tori Bernhardt will be the flex player playing shortstop for Johnson County. Youthy gets that one slapped down the third base line, past Moran's glove and into out short left field, and tracked in that time out in left field that time by the hands of Alyssa Wesley, and it's a 1-out single. Madison Wegner coming into the contest here. So Kelly Youthy pitching, making her 7th start of the season, 12th appearance overall inside the circle, 6-2 record for Youthy on the year. 41 innings pitched with a 4.4 ERA on the season. Surrendered 34 runs, but only 26 earned thus far this year. First pitch paints the outside part of the plate, right down the breadbasket almost as far as the belt high. And to the catcher, Madison Winger, she takes strike 1. Runner over at first, and Nelson, who laced the single down the third base line, will set the Scotty defense in a moment after Youthy's next pitch. That one's high and outside, even in the count at 1-1. Battery mate to Youthy, outside of the circle behind the plate, Aubrey Hernandez, who leads the team in home runs thus far this year for the Scotties. Over at first, Haley Donaldson, Cammie Zimmerman at second. Sam Moran, I mentioned her, at third. Shortstop, Maya Daniels today. Here comes the pitch from Youthy. Paints back in, hits the outside part of the plate again, and now 1-2 the count. In the outfield, from left to right, it's Alyssa Wesley. In center, Kendra Baldrige, and then Sydney Anderson. That is your starting lineup for the Highland softball team on the field. Of course, in the whites with the pinstripes, navy blue shoulders on the jerseys and such. That is popped foul and over the top of us. Count remains at 1-2. Youthy with the strikeout of the first batter that she faced here today. That gives her now 38 strikeouts on the season and 40-plus innings pitched. Youthy with the wind and fire. That goes dipping down low and pulls itself in for ball 2. Now 2-2 the count. To the third count of the plate here in the top of the first inning. First game of our doubleheader of Jayhawk Conference play today. Highland Community College playing host to Johnson County here on the Scotty Sports Network. Youthy sets on the rubber inside the circle, fires inside, and it's ripped foul on the third base side. Been working the outside part of the plate here in the at-bat until then for Youthy to go inside to kind of jam up the batter in Madison Wenger. Madison on the season, a utility player, but primarily plays catcher as a sophomore for Johnson County. .333 batting average entering today with 22 hits, which was second best on the team, behind only Sammy Bates, who, of course, Youthy struck out. Now going back to the outer part of the plate, off the grain bins on the first base side. Fouled off, the battle continues. This will be pitch number 8 of the at-bat. Nelson remains over at first, off the single down the third base line a moment ago with one out. Strikeout that was from Youthy on the first batter she faced in Bates in the top of the first inning. Swing there, and there's a chopper on the third base side again, hooking foul relatively quick. Shea Tolbert awaiting her crack at it. Tolbert in the on-deck circle, third best on the team in the hits with 18.
Scotty employees, and that number increases every year. Highland President David Rice encourages and supports those who work there with a simple philosophy. You're hired to do a job, do it well. Supporting folks to do their jobs encourages them to meet Rice's simple but high standards. Consequently, Highland faculty, staff, and administration are all part of a supportive culture that helps each other do their jobs well. Check it out, Highland Community College, online at highlandcc.edu.
Top half of the first inning. Sorry for the technical difficulties, apparently, but looks like we're back and rolling here for the action at Scotty Park. Top half of the first inning in the books. Relatively quiet one at that. One hit garnered by Johnson, but one left on as well. And the Scotties work around that one-out hit by Bailey Nelson. Leading off today for the Scotties, Sam Moran, the third baseman. Kendra Baldridge will follow suit. She's playing in center field today. Sydney Anderson, really the only gal that actually has played in every single game this season, Sid is. She's playing in right field again today. Aubrey Hernandez catching, and she'll bat fourth. The pitcher, Kelly Youthy, will bat fifth today. Designated player Lexi Hodap will bat sixth. Cammie Zimmerman, the second baseman, will bat seventh. Haley Donaldson in the lineup at the eighth spot in the batting order. She's playing at first. Alyssa Wesley is your number 9 spot. And in left field, of course, the flex player and the shortstop, Maya Daniels, rounding out the lineup today for the Scotties. Sam Moran on the season, an exceptional year thus far for the sophomore from St. Joe. .375 batting average, slugging percentage of nearly .600 on the year. 24 hits, 28 runs scored, and 15 RBIs. Has also garnered 10 walks in now 21st game played this season, which would be today. On the mound to go against the Scotties, Kerrigan Dixon. We'll give you her numbers in just a moment. First pitch straight down the chute for a strike to the Scotty third baseman. So Dixon, freshman pitcher, over 60 innings logged already inside the circle with a 1.87 ERA. So pretty darn good. This is her 13th appearance. Moran cracks one foul on the third base dugout. 9 complete games for Dixon in 12 appearances with 10 starts. So 10 of her starts, she's pitched a complete game. 8-3 record thus far for Dixon, who's given up just 26 runs, only 17 earned in 63-plus frames. Pitch well off the plate and outside. Good frame and trying to pull it back by the catcher. No need there because, ball gets away. There's nobody on base. But the catcher going to be crucial, obviously, for Johnson today. Madison Winger is the gal behind the plate. We'll set the Johnson defense in a moment. The 1-2 delivery on the way from the circle. Stays high and inside. Ran with a disciplined plate appearance. Like I said, she has 10 walks on the year, which I believe is second best on the team. Yeah, only one other gal has double digits. That's Sydney Anderson with the walks. She has 19. 2-2 count here to Moran, the third baseman for the Scotties. Moran puts one up into the air, tattoos it out towards center field, but it's a lofty one all the way back towards the fence, tracked in by Bailey Nelson. And a deep fly ball out to center is out number 1. Kendra Baldridge now due up here. We'll give you the defense for Johnson now as we go with the infield. We gave you the catcher, but we'll go over to first. Haley Bryn at first. At second, it's Alexis Ramos. At third today, you see Allie Hyman. And shortstop is Tori Barnhart for Johnson County Cavaliers. First pitch fired in by Dixon for a strike to Baldridge. Out in the outfield for the Cavaliers today, in left field, it is Shea Tolbert. Centers, Bailey Nelson and Sammy Bates in right field. Cloudy day, but, temperatures close to 60 degrees, so a pretty good, nice day for some softball action. That's off the plate, just outside. Baldridge lays off the pitch, and now a 1-1 count to Kendra here in the bottom of the first inning. Scoreless contest. First crack at it for the Scotty Bats. Here's some helicopters, I'm sure, in the background. They're doing some helicopter rides here in Highland, landing on the football field. This one's down the first base line, but hooking foul in pursuit and caught in foul territory. An athletic play by the right fielder, Sammy Bates. So Bates catches it in foul territory, and Kendra Baldridge is out number 2. 2 up, 2 down, bottom of the first inning, and here comes Sydney Anderson to the plate. Anderson, .468 batting average, sophomore from Gardner, Kansas, was a first-team all-conference player last year, first team all-district on top of that, and comes back with a key piece here. Laced into center field and a diving catch. What a play. Diving out there was Bailey Nelson, robbing Anderson of a potential hit as Anderson laced it into center field, but the line out controlled out in center field on the rocket shot by Anderson, but taken away on that opportunity for the Scotties, and unsuccessful, going down 1-2-3 in the bottom of the first inning. 1 inning in the books here on the Scotty Sports Network, as the Scotty softball team taking on Johnson County here today.
If you have heard stories about college debt and what it is doing not only to the student who borrowed the money, but also to families who co-signed those loans, you may have concern about your own college future. Check out the difference it makes to attend Highland Community College before transferring to a 4-year institution. Going to Highland will save you thousands of dollars in college expense. Literally, you'll be able to start your life after college without the burden of debt that is impacting so many families. Check it out at highlandcc.edu. Highland Community College. From here, you can see anywhere.
Welcome back as we head to the second inning of action. The inning, of course, that's first inning that he's had played here in this showdown. We saw neither team be able to garner an early run in the matchup, but Johnson was able to get the first base runner of the matchup as well for themselves, but got nothing of it. Kelly Youthy will face Haley Bryn, Kerrigan Dixon, and Kelsey Orender here to open up the top half of the second. First pitch strike to the first baseman, Haley Bryn. Haley on this season, .333 batting average on the year, 16 hits and 13 RBIs for Johnson. Youthy paints the outside part of the plate again. Nice masterful work of the outside thus far by Kelly Youthy. Youthy's done a very good job hitting that outside part of the plate. Aubrey Hernandez has helped frame it really well, too, to make it an easy call for home plate umpire today. Youthy ahead in the count, 0-2 here. The first baseman for Johnson sails it inside. It dips high and pops up there that time to high, ball one. Scotties have been relatively strong all the way around when you look at the numbers thus far this season, outscoring their opponents strongly here in the second and third innings. So we'll see if they can do that again thus far this year. That ball hit straight back and into the netting. Count remains at 1-2, but they've outscored their opponents 49-7 and 39-5 in the second and third innings, respectively, have the Scotties this year. Been able to post some big-time offensive numbers at times over the course of the year. And a called strike three. There's a strikeout number 2 for Kelly Youthy here for today, and out number 1 in the top of the second inning. Pitching-wise, the Scotties have had 13 games where their pitchers have combined to have at least 5 strikeouts recorded against their opponents thus far this year. And Youthy's already got 2 just here in the top half the second inning on 4 outs recorded. That fouled off and out of play, hitting the grain bins down on the first base side. If you're not familiar with Scotty Park, obviously, on the first base side, there's some extra scenery, some grain bins on the first base side. 200 even to left and right field, and also dead centers at 200 feet. This one popped up over to the second baseman's head. It's going to find the gap, turning first and thinking 2 all the way to the fence. They'll toss it in, but not in time to get her out at second, and it's a 1-out double by the pitcher, Kerrigan Dixon. Laced over the top of the second baseman's head into right center field. And Kerrigan Dixon able to put that one in for her 5th double of the season. 17th hit overall. So just like inning number 1, Johnson County gets the gal on after 1 out. Kelsey Orender, the designated player today, will be coming to the plate, takes ball 1. So now you got a runner in scoring position for the DP, Orender. Orender on the season, .286 batting average, 10 hits, 10 RBIs. Youthy's winds and fires and puts this one up and fouled it off out on the first base line. That'll hook foul. In pursuit was Sydney Anderson in right field, but well out of play. So Anderson, no play really to be made there. Scotties with today's matchup against Johnson. Then we'll have a showdown with Cloud County after that. This one's going to be put up into center field, easily played and lofted underneath. They're going to tag up. They'll go to third, but naturally the throw won't go there. Throw gets into the shortstop, Maya Daniels. Daniels didn't pull the trigger to toss it over to third, and Kerrigan Dixon tagging up to tag over to get over to third after the fly ball out to center field. So now 2 away, but runner at third here in the top of the second inning for Johnson. Johnson County, like I said, has won 9 in a row, but are also 6-0 on the road. Sharply hit down the first base line, but hooked foul relatively fast. Donaldson was on top of it, but again, foul ball. Allie Hyman, just over 300 batting average at .304 this season. During the 9-game winning streak for Johnson, they've won 6 of the 9 by 5 or more runs. This hit over to the second baseman off the hop. Zimmerman tosses it over, an easy play there, making it a 4-3 putout, and again stranding a runner early on for Johnson County. In the top half of the second inning, Johnson County gets the double with 2 outs, but nothing comes of that one, and the Scotties blank them in the top of the second. Bottom of the second inning, we got the 4, 5, 6 hitters due up for the Scotties in Hernandez, Youthy, and Hodap when we return on the Scotties Sports Network.
Highland Community College continues to make college more affordable. Administrated by Nelnet Business Solutions, HCC now offers payment plans. Any student taking an HCC course may finance their tuition fee and main campus housing via one of 3 different payment plans. Choose from day, evening, weekend, or online classes with one great low rate. Associate's degrees and transferable classes with financial aid and scholarships also available. Highland Community College. From here, you can see anywhere.
To the bottom of the second inning, we've worked ourselves. Scotty's yet to get on the board. Went down 1-2-3, matter of fact, the first time they had a crack at it against Kerrigan, Dixon, and Johnson County. Dixon, very good pitching performances over the course of the season thus far, and looking to continue that here today against Highland. But a potent bat in Aubrey Hernandez will be the next gal she faces. Hernandez has been very good at the plate this season for the Scotties. As Aubrey Hernandez, the sophomore from Overland Park, Kansas, is batting nearly 500, 492 on the year, a .921 slugging percentage with 24 hits, 24 runs scored, and 31 RBIs. 31 RBIs is best on the team. 24 hits is tied for second best on the team. But also, Aubrey has blasted 8 home runs on the season. Hernandez comes in to today with a 4-game hitting streak, and actually during all 4 games, she's had at least 2 hits during that hitting streak. First pitch was just outside, I believe, for ball 1 to the catcher, Aubrey Hernandez from Kerrigan-Dixon of Johnson County. Head coach Heidi Jordan has won over 480 games now, 480. This one laced down the third base line and hooks foul. Just pulling foul late in that swing there that time. Well hit ball by Hernandez. That would have been extra bases, no doubt, if a fair ball, but straighten it out just a tad bit more and get it down the line. He could have at least a double, perhaps, for Hernandez. Kelly Youthy and Lexi Hodamp due up here in this bottom half of the second inning. Anybody who gets on of those 3, Kemi Zimmerman would get a crack at it. And now it's off the end of the barrel and fouled off on the first base side by Hernandez. Count moves to 1-2 for Aubrey. Scotties have done very successful, as I said, offensively thus far this year. Top 10 in slugging percentage and home runs in the country and runs scored. And top 20 in doubles and RBIs. Also walks drawn and batting average. And strike 3 against Hernandez. She goes down on strikes after looking promising early with a couple of good contacts, but both foul balls, and Hernandez goes down on strikes. Kelly Youthy now will dig in, of course, trying to help aid her cause, her own self. Pitching-wise today, .412 batting average on the 5-game hitting streak for Kelly from Missouri. Camdenton. Here comes the Dixon pitch. Low, but it's a chop foul, and it's going to be dead ball. It hits in the batter's box area. So, strike 2 on Kelly, and Kelly will get another crack at it. Will the pitcher for the Scotties. Youthy with 14 hits, 11 runs scored, and 11 RBIs in her performances this season. Pitch sails well off the plate and well outside. Youthy's 17th appearance in a game in general. Pitching-wise, it's her 12th appearance and 7th start of the season. 1 out, bottom of the second inning. Scoreless contest thus far. Dixon's next wind and fire down the middle, and this one fouled off out of play. Hooks well foul and out on the third base side. These 2 teams have played some comparable opponents over the course of the year thus far. Scotties have logged a little bit more total games, 19-4 record to Johnson's 15-7 record. Not by many, obviously. There's only by 1 or 2 differential there. This one's shot out to right field, often tracking it in relatively easily on a little bit of a rope, but Kelly Youthy shoots it over to right and tracked in by Sammy Bates' hands. So 2 up, 2 down. Another fly ball out that time around. She's induced 4 fly ball outs. One was more of a line out towards center, but needless to say, balls hits the outfield 3 of the 4 times that were recorded outs. scored the 5 times, excuse me. Dribbler over to the third baseman, picked up there as Lexi Hodap went after the first pitch she saw, put it in play, but a 5-3 put out, and another 1-2-3 inning for the Scotties bats to go down quietly in the the bottom half of the second inning. 2 innings in the books. We have played 2 between Highland and Johnson here on the Scotty Sports Network, and scoreless ball game here on the Scotty Sports Network.
Highland's new precision agriculture program was designed for the farmer or related farm worker of the future. The future arrived quickly. Today's agricultural work goes beyond the field and barn to the computer, the satellite, the drone, the research lab. Aligning all these aspects precisely for the individual, field, and crop is provided by Highland's Precision Ag program. Centered in Baileyville at the College Western Center, this program can provide you with experience in understanding and applying modern farming methods. Check it out.
Well, on to the third inning. We've worked ourselves for today's showdown. Of course, the Scotties struggling offensively early on in this matchup as Johnson County hasn't garnered too much of their own success offensively. They have had 2 base runners, but that's about it. And base runner got to third in the last half inning for Johnson County, but it'll be the number 9 spot, Alexis Ramos, to lead things off here for Johnson. Then we're back to the top of the order. Bates and Nelson due up after that. As Ramos on the season, I don't know, it looks like she's a .304 batting average, 14 hits. First pitch strike from Kelly Youthy, who's pitched very well despite giving up those 2 hits, a double and a single. Has a couple of strikeouts and been able to work around each of those 1-out hits has Kelly Youthy and her defense. Youthy winds, fires, and straight down the breadbasket for strike 2 and takes an early 0-2 lead on Ramos, does Kelly Youthy. I was talking about comparable opponents between these 2 teams. We'll talk about that in a moment. They've each played Allen County and KCK in Jayhawk Conference play, but also have played Kirkwood this season, too, in non-conference action. Slap hit here. Sam Moran charges in from third base, fires over. A nice little sidearm throw by Sam. And Moran is able to retire the first batter faced in the top half of the third inning on a 5-3 ground ball out. So 1 up, 1 down here in the top half of the third. Still a scoreless ball game. Those comparable opponents. You look at, was series sweeps for Johnson and Highland over Allen County and KCK in conference action. Pitch goes low and inside, dusting the feet of Sammy Bates. Bates was a strikeout victim, one of the 2 through the first time through the order against Youthy. But 1-0 the count here to the right fielder for Johnson right now. Youthy winds and fires. This one's shot over Moran's hands and down the third base line. Extra bases, turning first, headed to second, and stopping with a stand-up double is Sammy Bates. So it is the 3rd consecutive time, we've played only 3 innings, we're in the 3rd, that Johnson County gets their first batter retired by Kelly Youthy in the Scotty defense, but then they get a hit. This time, it's back-to-back innings with a double. So Bates lacing the double to get a 1-out base runner, and again in scoring position. Finish my thoughts on those comparable opponents in a moment, but Bailey Nelson digging in. She's 1 for 1 with a single thus far in the ball game. Digs in this time around with the base runner in scoring position. She got to second, was stranded there in first, but swings over the top of that one, coming up empty for swinging strike 1. So Highland beat KCK 9-4 and 12-2. Johnson County beat KCK 11-1 and 3-1. So could maybe make the argument Highland was able to handle the Blue Devils a bit easier in the margins of between both games. Time was called, and 0-1 the count as Nelson will dig back in. Youthy's pitch, wind and fire, well high. Good pop-up there that Hernandez popped up from her crouch to able to track that ball in, keep it in front of her, and keep the base runner and Bates in the spot at second. 2 teams have played Allen County as well in Jayhawk Conference action this year. Johnson County won 8-0 and 12-7 against Allen, excuse me. And this one past the outstretched glove of Maya Daniels and looks like it might score one. They're going to turn it at third. Here comes the throw. Hernandez throws the tag and around the tag and safe. Bates comes in and slides in there. Coach Scott Jordan coming out to talk with the home plate umpire at the moment. But right now, as it stands, it'll be a run scored for Johnson. RBI for Nelson, who has her second hit of the ball game. Johnson's taking the 1-0 lead here in the top of the third inning. Madison Wagner coming to the plate. Johnson, I said, beat Allen 8-0 and 12-7. Highland, of course, winning against Allen 21-10 and 14-3. So again, Scotty's handling business against Allen a little bit by wider margins and a lot easier maybe perhaps than Johnson did. This one's going to be a blooper. Tracked in and snow cone that time by Zimmerman. Close play and it's a double play. Zimmerman turns, fires, hits the shortstop Daniels at second. And a spectacular catch by Zimmerman to get the double play out at second, picking the runner off that time. But Johnson has 2 hits and gets on the board. 1-0 lead as we go to the bottom of the third. It's the bottom of the order due up for the Scotties when we return in Zimmerman, Donaldson, and Wesley. So the Scotties trailing 1-0 in this showdown, but they'll have an opportunity to try to take their bats off the shoulder with the bottom half of the order when we return on the Scotty Sports Network.
Get all the latest news on Highland Community College athletics by checking out ScottyAthletics.com. From recaps of the latest game action, schedules, stats, player features, athletes of the week, and much more. All you need to know about Highland Community College sports at your fingertips at ScottyAthletics.com. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter at HCC Scotties and on Facebook.
Top half of the third inning sees a couple of hits for Johnson County, and they get an RBI single. Just ruled a single, but did advance to second because of the throw home, trying to get the runner and keep this one at a blank score sheet. But that's not the case because Johnson was able to scratch a run across the board in the top half of the third. Mike Smith alongside with you here today for the action from Scotty Park as the Scotties trail 1-0 right now to Johnson County. The other comparable opponent between these two was Kirkwood. Highland played Kirkwood in just one game and won 9-1, and Johnson played them a doubleheader, lost both games, 14-4 and 8-5. So if you like looking at comparable opponents there and you try to take something away, say who maybe is the favorite coming into today, the Scotties obviously being at home, having some of those comparable opponents go a little bit favorable in their side than the other way. Maybe you would then favor Highland, but right now it's favored in Johnson's way, and this one shoots foul just by inches off Zimmerman's bat, who had the spectacular catch and inning-ending double play. Zimmerman had a little looper that she caught just in the short grass range, right behind second base territory, right in the second base defensive territory, out in right field, and she picked off the runner over at second for out number 2 for the double play. That pitch bounces to the plate. Now 1-1 the count to the second baseman for the Scotties. Zimmerman has come in and interjected herself pretty nicely into the lineup. Topeka, Kansas native, freshman, .333 batting average on the season with 19 hits. This is her 21st game seeing action this season. So most of the games she's been in play. This one's short out towards the right center field, but lofted up enough that it's out there the center fielder backtracking it over the shoulder catch by Bailey Nelson. And Nelson tracks in out number 1. But another fly ball out induced. And thus far 7 outs recorded on 7 batters faced for Kerrigan Dixon and Johnson County. And well, of those 7 outs, 5 of them have been fly ball outs to the outfield. Shot off the end of the barrel and fouled off on the first base side. Haley Donaldson. Haley playing over at first today. Sophomore from DeKalb, Missouri. .389 batting average with just 7 hits thus far. Of course, as pitched for the Scotties thus far this year, too. And pitch sails outside by Dixon. 1-1 the count. After Donaldson, Wesley awaits in the on-deck circle. If the Scotties are able to get Donaldson or Wesley on, they would go back to the top half of the order. But Johnson trying to make it through the first time through the order against the Scotties without allowing a base runner, and 2 batters away from doing so. But the pitch comes low and inside and rolls across the feet of Donaldson. And 2-1. Haley's got the count now in her favor. 5 games with a hit for Donaldson this year of the 7 hits. So 2 of them were multi-hit games for Donaldson. Ooh, that pitch just off the plate. Dixon looking towards the home plate umpire, wanting to maybe think that how close that call was. And 3-1 now the count. Donaldson laying off the last pitch. Count in her favor. Trying to get a base runner. The first one for the Scotties. No hits so far for Highland, but this one's going to go past the shortstop and out towards center field. Left center, it's Donaldson lacing one past the shortstop's outstretched gloves, and a 1-out single. On the 3-1 count, Donaldson delivers the first base run of the ball game and the first hit for the Scotties, her 8th hit of the season. Alyssa Wesley digging in. Wesley featured on the game day graphic by Athletic Director Tyler Norman today. That we pump out, of course, on all game days on our Twitter account, HCC Scotties. Follow us there. Wesley's going to shoot it up into the air, out towards center field, backtracking towards the fence, and tracked in on another high fly ball out. This to Nelson in center field again. She's tracked in 2, but for both outs this inning. So Wesley on just 1 pitch is out number 2. Alyssa was batting .419 coming in today. Sam Moran, second crack at it against the starting pitcher, Kerrigan Dixon. Donaldson over at first base runner of the ball game for the Scotties. And first pitch comes in at the knees for a strike. Sam flew out to center field her first time around. Moran, .375 entering today's doubleheader at the plate. 15 games with a hit this season. Also 8 games with at least 1 RBI. And Moran pulled it foul. Now down to the count, 0-2. Both teams have, pretty comparable as far as the runs given up this season overall. They don't give up a lot of runs, Johnson, that is. 3.5 per game to their opponents. Scotties only give up 3.6 runs per game to their opponents. The difference comes in the offenses. Scotties average nearly 9 runs per game, 8.9, but average also 10.2 hits per game, where Johnson does not average that kind of numbers. They average just about 6.5 runs per game and 8.7 hits per contest. A pitch high for a ball to Moran. And that evens the count at 2-2. So 2-2 count now here. Moran was down the count 0-2, but has worked it to an even count now with Donaldson over at first and 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. Moran gets a piece of it again, but pulled it foul. This one closer to staying in bounds, but foul ball. We'll do it again for Sam Moran. Again, the Scotties with a 19-4 record. Yes, they have 4 losses, but 3 of the 4 by 1 run or less. And the other loss was an 8-0 loss in the season opener, which they took the second game against Northern Oklahoma in that affair. And this one fouled off and out of play on the first base side, grazing the grain bins again. For Johnson, they might have 7 losses, but they've won 9 in a row, like I said. And their losses were some good teams. They went down to Texas, lost 3 in a row to open up the season, lost a doubleheader to Kirkwood as well, and haven't lost a conference game for the Cavaliers. Scotties are 10-2 in the conference. And there's one shot over the second baseman's hand. It's going to trickle out towards the fence. Moran's going to turn all the way to second. They're going to turn from third. Here comes the runner at Donaldson. Donaldson, no play at home. The pitcher intercepted the throw coming in. Donaldson in there safely. She went first to home in that situation off the Moran double. Ran the 2-bagger with the RBI. And Kendra Baldridge, who's blasted multiple extra base hits, will now come to the plate. Sam, that is her 4th double of this season, 25th hit overall on the year. And the Scotties have knotted it up at 1 apiece here in the bottom half of the third. Hadn't even got through with a hit against starter Dixon for Johnson, but they break through with a couple big hits to get on the board. Baldridge fouled out to the right fielder the first time up on a nice fly ball. But again, in foul territory, that was well played by the right fielder and Bates for Johnson County. It's ball one on the first pitch to Baldridge, the center fielder for the Scotties. Here's the line and fire. That one fouled off into the netting on the first base side. Kendra on the season, I mentioned she's got multiple extra base hits of her 28 hits on the year, which is actually second best on the team. But she's has 8 doubles, also 4 home runs. I think the 4 home runs might be the second best number there on the squad, only behind Aubrey Hernandez, who has 8. A pitch inside, ball 2. Now 2-1 the count to Baldridge. Kendra, a sophomore from Derby, Kansas, 483 batting average entering today, and a slugging percentage of over 820 on the season. Like I said, been getting on base and rips one off the third baseman's glove. The shortstop's backing up to try to make a play at first, and they just get Baldridge at first. And Baldridge almost beat that out, but glancing off of the third baseman's glove, the shortstop covering, and Coach Scott Jordan upset with the call there, talking with the umpire out in the field in disagreement of that call, thinking that Baldridge would have been safe in that scenario. But instead, it's the Scotties getting their first 2 hits of the game in the third inning, and it's a 1-1 contest after 3 on the Scotty Sports Network.
Watch all the action and relive games from the season on the Scotty Sports Network, your home for Highland Community College sports. Subscribe to the Scotty Sports Network on YouTube and stay connected to HCC Sports. And now you can catch the latest game action and special features on teams and players with programs like Scotty Sports Talk. Find links to Scotty Sports Network under the Fan Zone tab at ScottyAthletics.com and subscribe to the Scotty Sports Network on YouTube.
All 3 innings in the books here at Scotty Park, and, well, Highland Community College hadn't done much offensively through the first 2 half innings, but they get on the board with their first 2 hits of the ball game. Sam Moran delivers an RBI double to score Haley Donaldson, who delivered the first hit of the contest for the Scotties, and that knocks the game up at 1 apiece. High pop-up this time to open up the top of the 4th inning, and Baldridge out in center field easily tracks that in off the bat of Shay Tolbert, and 1 away for Kelly Youthy and the Scotties in the top half of the 4th inning. Haley Bryn and Kerrigan Dixon are due up for Johnson in this half inning. Runner has been garnered every half inning for Johnson thus far. Got a runner with 1 out in the second, stranded her at second base. Runner with 1 out, stranded her at third in the second inning. First pitch strike fired into Bryn, who struck out her first time around. In this third inning, of course, they got another 1 out base runner. It was on a double for the second consecutive inning. And a RBI single followed suit, and that's what scored Johnson's first run of the ball game. 2-1 the count here to Bryn, the first baseman for Johnson. 1 out, top of the 4th, 1-1 contest in a highly competitive Jayhawk Conference matchup between a battle of 2 ranked teams, and that's shot foul on the first base side. Now 2-2 the count. Scotties were perhaps on the precipice of now just 1-2 the count. So 1-2 the count. I said I had 2 balls, but only 1 ball. Here comes the pitch that sails high. Now 2-2 the count. Wind has kind of died down. We had it earlier before the ball game, but flags out in dead center field, slightly blowing around, swaying out there, but not too much. Cloud coverage yet again, putting the sun behind the clouds, but the sun has peeked out throughout the course of the contest thus far. And this one just dribbled out in front of home plate. The throw is a little high, but tracked in by Donaldson. Nice flick of the wrist by Youthy. And 1-3 on the put out for out number 2. Kerrigan Dixon, who had a double her first time up in the second inning, comes to the plate with 2 outs here in the top half, the 4th. Dixon, pitching-wise, was looking like she was going to go through the order without surrendering an entire base runner against the Scotties. Haley Donaldson threw a wrench into that and got on base, and then Sam Moran, with her second at-bat against Dixon, was able to get Highland on the board. That fouled off and bounces off the grain bins yet again. So strike one. To Dixon from Kelly Youthy in the pitcher-pitcher matchup. And Youthy's delivery dips low. And the moans and groans from the Highland faithful in attendance thought that that would be high enough to catch the knee for the strike, but perhaps dipping just a tad bit out of the zone, it looks like, apparently. And a 1-1 count instead. Youthy delivers, and Kelly fires it and paintbrushes the outside corner again. Youthy has been able to walk the line, and now a couple of batters have gotten a piece of it, but walking that line outside, she does it again. This one's chopped foul, though, on the third base side. Youthy hasn't been afraid, though, to go back inside when she's been, going throughout the course of this game, trying to get the outer portion of the plate, and has done so very well, as I said. But Youthy's not been afraid to dot the I inside as well, and may try to go back to that against Dixon here. Goes high, and Dixon shots it out into the center field. A little tattoo action that time by Dixon. Dixon right on top of it. A barrel right on the heart of the ball. And so Dixon with a 2-for-2 day. Double and a single. And also another base runner, so 4 times at the plate for Johnson, and 4 times they've had at least one gal on the base pads. This time around it comes, though, with 2 outs, and painting the outside corner again, but misfiring that time by Youthy, perhaps a tad bit low as well, to Orender. 2 outs, top of the 4th, runner at first, and Dixon after the single to center. Here comes the pitch that sails high and outside. Now 2-0 the count to Kelsey Orender, the designated player for Johnson County. Orender flew out to center field where Kinder Baldridge awaits her first time around. Moving relatively quick here in our first game of the doubleheader. You like the pace of this one, I'm sure. And that pitch outside and in the dirt. Ball 3. Youthy a little off kilter here in this at bat at the moment. 3-0 count to the designated player, Johnson County, screaming ball 4 from their dugout in one of those patented softball chants, but it's strike 1. Pitch comes inside, about belt high as well, and Orender was taking all the way. He didn't want a piece of that at all, and Youthy might try to go back inside, I think, maybe here again, or we'll see what she can do on the 3-1 delivery. Goes back towards the outside. Zimmerman diving, knocks it down, but not going to allow an opportunity for it to be picked up and an out. So everybody's safe, and I guess you would call that a single. It did glance off the glove of Cammie Zimmerman. We'll get full confirmation on if that is a single or an error in a moment, as head coach Heidi Jordan going to take a trot out of the first base dugout for the Scotties and look to talk with her pitcher at the moment. So they do give Orender the single officially in the inning, so a couple of hits. 2 outs, top of the 4th inning, 2 on for Johnson. Tie ball game, 1-1. Infield and head coach Jordan talking with the pitcher Kelly Youthy at the moment for the Scotties. Scotties hadn't garnered a hit until the bottom of the 3rd inning when they were down 1-0. Sam Moran delivered the RBI double to knot this game up at 1 apiece. And as I mentioned, both these teams sitting atop in the Jayhawk Conference as some of the top tier teams in the conference thus far this season. Scotties 19-4 overall, 10-2 in Jayhawk Conference play. Flip it onto the other side for Johnson. You got a 15-7 record and 8-0 in the conference. 15-7, maybe that doesn't look ultra daunting, but they lost some early games. They've won 9 in a row, Johnson has. Scotties, 3 of their 4 losses are by a single digit, all winnable games. And they didn't play some of the regulars in that season opener. So that was a potential, situation on how that one unfolded as well. First pitch ball from Youthy after the meeting to Allie Hyman. Of course, struggled to find the strike zone, did Youthy, and the last at bat. That led to Orender getting the single off of the glove of Zimmerman. This is fouled off and out of play. Well out of play on the first base side. Hyman, third baseman for Johnson today. Ground ball out to second base, or first time around, back in the second inning. Ended that inning, matter of fact. Highland would like her to end at the top of the fourth as well and leave Johnson with an opportunity here. Line out to first. Donaldson holds it in. An easy play for Donaldson. Alver at first base on the liner, hit by Hyman. So he'll get two base runners on with 2 outs, but nothing comes of it for Johnson County in the top half of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth inning, Anderson, Hernandez, and Youthy are all due up for the Scotties when we return here on the Scotty Sports Network.
Highland Community College surprises a lot of people. Generally thought as one of the smallest, Highland is actually in the middle of the 19 Kansas community colleges in enrollment. Its Highland campus has a real college feel with housing, athletics, student organizations, theater, concerts, art shows, an operating farm, and distinctive academic programs in its regional centers that cover the college's 9-county service area in northeast Kansas. Viticulture, enology, precision agriculture, diesel, construction technology, early childhood. Check it out, Highland Community College, online at highlandcc.edu.
Pair of 2-out base runners happening for Johnson County in inning number 1, but nothing comes of those 2-out base runners at that. So ultimately the Scotties are able to keep themselves tied up in this contest thus far against Johnson County. But Johnson has had a base runner every half inning, something that the Scotties haven't been able to, conjure up for themselves over the course of game number 1 of the doubleheader. Highland does have a .386 team batting average, which is better than Johnson County coming in to today. We'll see what happens as Kerrigan Dixon goes back to the circle. Dixon has been very good on the mound over the course of the year, as has Kelly Youthy, 6-2 record, obviously, and I've been in there for a couple of losses, but it's pitched pretty strong. But Dixon, 187 batting average, and Highland's just got to find a way to be able to get to her. Got a couple hits last inning, see if that can help here. And this one's going to be laced for an extra base hit down the third base line. Turning first is Anderson. Sidney's going all the way to second, and a stand-up double to lead off the top or the bottom of the fourth inning. Sidney Anderson maybe is the ignition switch here in the fourth inning to the offense. Maybe it got ignited, and you saw a little, ember lit with a fire for the Scotties in that third inning when Sam Moran delivered the RBI hit to get the Scotties on the board. But here's an opportunity for Highland to do some damage with nobody out and a base runner in scoring position as Sidney blasted her 16th double of the year. Anderson was on the move from second base, but it's fouled off out of play on the first base side by Aubrey Hernandez. Hernandez can make this a 3-1 contest with relative ease, and she can put some round-trip tickets together multiple times. As I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, she leads the team in home runs, does Hernandez, with 8 of them. But looked to show the bunt. Did bunt it foul. So Hernandez, 4-game hitting streak. All 4 games, she's had 2 hits in those. Just like to continue that hitting streak by maybe perhaps bringing in Anderson at the moment and giving the Scotties their first lead of the first game of the doubleheader. Ball comes in low, and catcher and Madison Wenger giving up from her crouch. Looking back, the runner and Anderson at second, and tossing it a little more aggressively back to the pitcher. 1-2 the count. Hernandez likes to put the bat on the ball, more contact than anything else. Has only drawn 4 walks this year, and contacts that past the Coach Jordan. That's Scott Jordan back out over there in the third base coaching box. Straighten it out again. Hernandez struck out her first time, but that is not indicative of how the at-bat started. Hernandez had a really good placed ball down the third base line that was just inches foul, really. Maybe a good hand length away from the line. Now 2-2 the count to Hernandez. That last pitch out of the zone, a little up to Aubrey. And Aubrey made contact after that pitch that I just talked about that she had in the first at-bat down the first baseline that pulled a foul, but it was a really good hit as well, and she ended up striking out ultimately. And this one's going to be laced out to an open spot out to right center field. It's the extra base hit as Hernandez turns first and will head into second, and it is back-to-back doubles for the Scotties. And that one attached with an RBI to it is Hernandez. And Highland takes their first lead of the contest. Sydney Anderson with the leadoff double comes in to score on the Hernandez double. And Aubrey delivers her 32nd RBI of the season. Also her 4th double of the year. Scotties coming into the day had 55 doubles on the season, which was tied for 11th best in NJCAA Division II. Showing bunt was Kelly Youthy, bunting it foul for strike one. But needless to say, extra base hits have been garnered at the capacity of doubles and home runs over the course of the year. The Scotties do have a pair of triples as well. But 0-1 the count to Kelly Youthy, the pitcher. Youthy shows bunt again, and then he's going to lay this one back down to the pitcher, covering over at first to be the second baseman. And they do advance the runner to third in Aubrey Hernandez. So the sac bunt laid down to perfection. Go 1-4 on the putout as Alexis Ramos was covering over at first. So Youthy lays down the sacrifice bunt, and that is out number 1 of the inning. Highland has already plated one on 2 hits. And Lexi Hodap, who had went after her first pitch that she saw in the game. Sun starts to peek back out behind the clouds, and Hodap takes a called strike one. Alexis grounded out to the third baseman her first time around. So, Sun peeks back out from behind the clouds and behind the grain bins as well here on the first base side of Scotty Park, lightening up the scene. And Hodap wants a piece of this one. He's going to send it out towards center field. That finds the gap in right center as well. Hodap turns first, headed to second, bobbled out there by the center fielder, and Hodap has a stand-up double. 3 doubles in the inning, 2 attached with RBIs, as Aubrey Hernandez was able to score with ease from third base. She had gotten into third by the sacrifice bunt, but 3 hits and all 3 doubles here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. As Lexi Hodap delivers the latest of that variety, Lexi's 4th double of the season. Cammie Zimmerman will step to the plate. Now 5 hits in the game for Zimmerman, her first time around. Zimmerman's not, bashful from hitting doubles herself. She has 6 of them on the season. Also has a 1 round-trip ticket of a home run this year. Just making some more contact. Only 1 out right now for the Scotties here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And then Zimmerman's going to put it past the glove of the shortstop out towards center field. It's in short center, tracked down by Bailey Nelson relatively quick, and it didn't make it very far out, so Alexis Hodap had to remain at second. So Hodap did not advance, but it is a single by Cammie Zimmerman nearly up the middle. A couple of diving plays by the shortstop, Tori Bernhardt, has come up empty each time on her glove opportunities. Haley Donaldson with a single, scored the very first run of the game. And takes a first pitch strike, lower portion of the zone, catching it around the knees for Haley. Donaldson with that hit earlier, just 8 hits now on the season. Came back from last year with some high success. Was second team all conference at the pitching position, and has pitched this year too for the Scotties. Pitch sells high, ball 1, and now the 1-1 the count. The Scotties went down relatively quietly throughout the course of the first time through the order until Donaldson came to the plate and broke up the monotony of the outs. Pitch goes off the plate and outside for a ball to Donaldson, who had just showed bunt there. 2-1 for Donaldson. First baseman today. Donaldson, like I said, returning as a key sophomore. Good influx of freshmen this year with athleticism that Coach Jordan, Heidi, and her husband, Scott, talked about here to me before the season on our season preview that we put together. if you still want to watch that, interviews with the players and Heidi and Scott as well. You can find that on our Scotty Sports Network on YouTube. But talked about the athleticism of the freshmen coming in to add to what they already had with the great sophomore class. And Donaldson watches low and away. Ball 3. Full count to Donaldson. Only 1 away, 2 on, and 2 across the board in this inning for a 3-1 Scotty lead. And pitch up there, looped out towards left field. Misplayed off the glove, and it's going to track to the wall. Everybody's going to be safe. And runners all across the pond here for the Scotties right now. That grazes the glove of the right fielder, Sammy Bates. And because it touches Bates' glove, that could be ruled as an error. And they do rule it as an error. Check the official scoring on that situation. So E9 keeps the inning rolling with still, again, only 1 out. Scotties have just 1 out against them, and they kind of gave that one to Johnson on the sacrifice bunt. But runners at every single base pad right now. So the duck pond is loaded for the Scotties at this point with the bottom of the 4th inning, 2 across and a 3-1 lead. And Alyssa Wesley coming to the plate. Alyssa fly ball out to center her first time around, but over a 400 batting average at .419 entering today. This is her 20th game seeing action this season. First pitch, low and inside to Wesley. So Wesley with ball 1. Here comes the pitch on the way, and this one's shot foul down the third base side. Now 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count for Wesley. 3-1 lead for the Scotties, and threatening to add more and break this open a little bit perhaps with 3 on. And just 1 out. Wesley chases after it, but goes underneath and swings and misses. That is exactly what the Scotties don't want. Strikeout here. That would be ideal for Johnson in this case. Get it out without any advancement or even having to really make a play in a defensive capacity. 1-2 delivery on the way to left fielder Wesley. On the way, Wesley gets a little piece of it. They'll go home for the force out, and no double play potential, but so fielder's choice, 5-2, gets Wesley at first, but Alexis Hodamp and Lexi is out at home, which for Johnson's sake, of course, keeps another run across, or from coming across the plate. Back to the top of the order, Sam Moran, 1 for 2 today. RBI double her last time. I got the runs scored in that 3rd inning, and Moran watches one high. Jalissa Ortega will be the new pitcher for Highland. We'll take a quick break and give you the update on the pitching change when we return for the Scotties here on the Scotty Sports Network.
What is it that stays with Highland alums that make them want to come back and work there? Almost 40 Scotty alums are now Scotty employees, and that number increases every year. Highland President David Rice encourages and supports those who work there with a simple philosophy. You're hired to do a job, do it well. Supporting folks to do their jobs encourages them to meet Rice's simple but high standards. Consequently, Highland faculty, staff, and administration are all part of a supportive culture that helps each other do their jobs well. Check it out, Highland Community College, online at highlandcc.edu.
Highland Community College continues to make college more affordable. Administrated by Nelnet Business Solutions, HCC now offers payment plans. Any student taking an HCC course may finance their tuition fee and main campus housing via one of 3 different payment plans. Choose from day, evening, weekend, or online classes with one great low rate. Associate's degrees and transferable classes with financial aid and scholarships also available. Highland Community College. From here, you can see anywhere.
Get all the latest news on Highland Community College athletics by checking out ScottyAthletics.com. From recaps of the latest game action, schedules, stats, player features, athletes of the week, and much more. All you need to know about Highland Community College sports at your fingertips at ScottyAthletics.com. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter at HCC Scotties and on Facebook.
Well, new pitcher for Highland at this point. Jalissa Ortega taking over for Kelly Youthy in the showdown. And, Highland thus far saw their lead go away in the showdown. But we'll see if they can, re-garner that lead in their favor. But right now, the task at hand stands in shutting down Johnson County. That fouled off and back this time around. Ortega is facing Madison Wenger, the first batter that she faces off against. So Jalissa now making her 13th appearance inside the circle. Apologize for the technical difficulties with our scoreboard bug on the stream. So we'll, of course, continue to tell you the score on the broadcast and keep you up to date here. Shot right out of a cannon to Sam Moran. They get the double play. What a play that time. Line out, ripped over to the third baseman, picked up, and Sam fires it over to first, rifling throw to pick the runner in Bailey and Nelson off on the base pads. And that is 2 outs now here off the double play, but 2 runs across as well, tying it at 3 apiece on a 2-run homer by Johnson County. 2-run homer by Sammy Bates. So Ortega comes in and induces a double play. Time called. And Ortega was already in motion, so she went ahead and delivered the pitch. It won't matter. Shea Tolbert digging in. Ortega, a sophomore that returns from Goddard, Kansas on the season. Over 37 innings pitched with a 2.06 ERA. Ortega misses outside, low into the dirt. Like I said, this is her 13th appearance on the mound. More often than not, she's come in relief. She has made 4 starts this season, but of her 13 appearances, only 4 of them being those starts. Pitch goes in for a strike to even the count at 1 apiece. Highland sent 8 to the plate in the bottom of the 4th inning to score 2. They left the bases loaded, however, and they've stranded 4 in the game. Johnson County has stranded 4 also, but they've got 2 across here. Swing and a miss, and strike 2 to Tolbert. Need 1 more out to get out of the 5th inning, and then it'll be Baldridge, Anderson, and Hernandez due up for the Scotties. Give you Kelly Youthy's final numbers in a little while as Ortega misses outside. But Youthy goes 4+ in the ball game. Did not record an out here in the 5th. Ortega spins, fires, goes high, and now all of a sudden it's a full count to Tolbert. Tolbert is 0 for 2, flew out to center and also flew out to the second baseman. Will pop up to end the 1st inning. She led off the 4th inning with that fly ball out to center 2nd time around. Contact made there, but pulled foul on the third base side. We'll do it again. Inning was led off by Alexis Ramos, who had a single. Sammy Bates punched it out of play. Right center field wall over the top of it for a 2-run homer. That was followed by a single by Bailey Nelson, but then a double play by Ortega. And that's coming our way and out of play. Just over the fence. Didn't bring my glove today, but Ortega now will dig back into the circle and try to get Tolbert out here with that full count already garnered. Last 2 pitches fouled off. There's Ortega's pitch outside and ball 4. The inning continues on the first free pass of the ball game either way. Work around the base runner garnered here on the 2-out walk. Haley Bryn will come to the plate. Well, 0 for 2 performance for her in this showdown. And pitch goes outside. Ball 1 from Ortega. Jalissa's statistics thus far this year, I mentioned a 2.06 ERA and 37+ innings of work Surrendered 16 runs, 11 earned, 44 total hits given up, 19 strikeouts, now 9 walks, with the walk garnered just a moment ago. 1-1 the count. As the sun dips behind the clouds yet again and gets a little cloudier. Wind also picks up a little bit. And Ortega paints the inside, and just inside there off the plate. Around the knees, but inside and off for ball 2. 2-1 the count, top of the 5th inning, 3-all contest. Highland was leading 3-1 until a 2-run homer in this inning. That's fouled off, just a little brief contact made, but Haley Bryn now with a 2-2 count. Ortega trying to get out of the inning here with Johnson County regaining the lead. And Ortega goes and fires outside. Full count again, back-to-back batters with full counts against the relief pitcher, Jalissa Ortega. Youthie accredited for all 3 runs of the game. She gives up all three earned on 9 hits and 4+. And had a pair of strikeouts. That made contact and going to go bouncing off the wall out in right center field. They'll turn the runner at third. Here comes the throw, but not in time. And Johnson County has regained the lead on an RBI double by Shea Tolbert. So 2-out hit pays dividends, and that run charged to Ortega, because Ortega inherited a base runner but induced the double play, wiping that gal away off the base pads, but then tossed a walk, and then an RBI double right there by Haley Bryn. I said Tolbert, but Tolbert scored. That booted by Daniels at shortstop, and that's going to turn from third and allow another run to score. And the Scotties got to be careful to not unravel in this situation, as Johnson County's plated 4 in the top of the 5th inning all of a sudden and are up 5-3. And Ortega struggling and have the infield come in to talk with her at the moment. That, I believe, will have to be ruled an E6 at that juncture. And shortstop error, allowing Dixon to reach for the 3rd time in this ball game. First error of the contest on the Scotties, and error both ways actually in this game. Each team has an error now in the game. But the Scotties' error being a costly one that gives Johnson County a run. Moran charges hard on the ground ball. That's fired over to first. 5-3. Kelsey Orander is the 3rd and final out of the 5th inning. But not until Johnson County counteracts Highland's 8 sent to the plate. But they get 4 out of it. 2-run homer by Sammy Bates, highlighting the frame to tie it. And then some late work with 2 outs, getting the lead back for Johnson County. 4-run top of the 5th inning, leading to a 5-3 lead as well in this showdown for Johnson County. So Johnson County on top as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. Scotty's going to try to take the bats off the shoulders with Baldridge, Anderson, and Hernandez when we return on the Scotty Sports Network.
Highland Community College continues to make college more affordable. Administrated by Nelnet Business Solutions, HCC now offers payment plans. Any student taking an HCC course may finance their tuition fee and main campus housing via one of 3 different payment plans. Choose from day, evening, weekend, or online classes with one great low rate. Associate's degrees and transferable classes with financial aid and scholarships also available. Highland Community College. From here, you can see anywhere.
Well, 8 sent to the plate for Johnson County in the top half of the 5th inning. That was after Highland sent 8 to the plate themselves in the bottom of the 4th inning and took the lead with 2 runs. And we're up 3-1 entering the 5th, but 4 spot in the 5th inning allowed Johnson County to ultimately take care of the opportunities that they had and take the lead back for themselves in this one. A 2-run bomb by Sammy Bates leading the way, an error and a 2 RBI double helping garner the other 2 runs of the half inning. Kendra Baldridge 0 for 2 in the ball game right now. Kendra looking to ignite something for herself, has a 5-game hitting streak entering today, but 0 for 2 as I said, and Winger paints it back in off that outer portion of the plate. It is strike one. Baldridge fouled out to the right fielder first time up, hit the shortstop on a ground ball out. Second time around, leads off the fifth inning. Kendra trying to ignite things back for themselves. Again, apologize for the technical difficulties on our scoreboard bug for our stream, but do have the stream still rolling along. And 5-3 lead for Johnson in the bottom of the fifth inning after they score 4 in the top half of this frame. Dixon winds, fires, and misses low and away to Baldridge. So 2-1 now, the count to the center fielder Baldridge. Right fielder Sydney Anderson in the on-deck circle on the way. She'll get a crack at it, and Aubrey Hernandez. So it's the 2, 3, and 4 hitters due up for Highland. Pitch comes outside, and laying off of it was Baldridge, so ball 3. Now 3-1 the count. Kendra just trying to garner a base runner for the Scotties at this point. Kendra has gotten on base with regularity throughout the course of the season, but right now just trying to get on base with a walk, and will do so. That's ball 4, and it's the first free pass of the ball game that Highland's been able to take for themselves in the contest. Here comes Sydney Anderson. Anderson, 1 for 2. With a double and a run scored. Sid digs in. Near 500 batting average coming into today. Lofty fly ball. This one tracking all the way and out of play. Home run, a 2-run shot to tie it up. Sydney Anderson tattoos one well high, sky high. We've seen some helicopters rolling past here. That one could have been up there towards that, and lofted out of play by Anderson for the round trip ticket, and a 2-run bomb knots this game right back up. Scotties fall down by 2 coming into the bottom of the fifth, and they have a answer relatively quick. Kendra Baldridge draws the walk, and then Sydney Anderson puts it out of play for the 2-run homer. So 5-5 contest here in the bottom of the fifth inning. Again, no scoreboard bug for us here on the stream, so we'll just make sure we keep you up to date on the score as usual. Here comes the pitch that goes inside for a strike to Aubrey Hernandez. First pitch was a ball. Aubrey has a 1 for 2 performance thus far with a RBI double and a run scored. Sydney with that home run, that's her 4th of the season. It's also the team's 30th home run of the year. They rank in the top 10 in the country in home runs. Pitch stays high, and Hernandez now with a 2-1 count in their favor. Now it's all of a sudden down a little bit chillier here at Scotty Park, and the wind's starting to blow in from the first base side and across the field as the wind picks up, and the sun has done its best Houdini act, disappearing behind the clouds. And this one shot up into the air, but a lofty one out towards right field. And Bates, who had an error out there earlier, is able to track that one in. That's out number 1 only. And here comes Jalissa Ortega for her first at-bat of the ball game. Taking Kelly Youthy's spot, of course. Youthy will finish the game 0 for 1 with a sacrifice bunt. Jalissa hasn't had many at-bats over the course of this season thus far. Was a second-team JAC Conference pitcher and first-team district, primarily pitching for the Scotties. Doesn't take too many swings thus far, at least this year. .250 batting average, however. Just only 1 hit. First pitch ball to Ortega, the sophomore from Goddard, Kansas. And Jalissa rockets one over the shortstop. Bernhardt picks it up and fires over to first. And 6-3 on the putout that time. Good contact by Ortega, but out number 2. And the DP, the designated player, Lexi Hodap, coming to the plate. The freshman from Olathe, Kansas, entered today with a .388 batting average. Lexi is 1 for 2 with an RBI double. Also a ground ball out to the third baseman as well. And Dixon wildly misses outside. Ball 1. Dixon, however, continues to be on as the pitcher inside the circle. And Dixon has continually done that over the course of the season in her starts. I mentioned earlier, of her 10 starts prior to today, she has thrown 9 complete games and catches the inner part of the plate there. Hodap a little befuddled by the pitch, and it's a called strike. And 1-1 the count. So 1-1 the count. Bases are clear. Scotties have a 2-run homer by Sydney Anderson in the inning to tie this up at 5 apiece. Pitch spinning off the net on the first base side for strike 2. Cami Zimmerman would be due up if Alexis can continue the inning. Otherwise, we'll go to the top half of the 6th, where Allie Hyman, Alexis Ramos, and Sammy Bates will be due up for Johnson County. Delivery by Dixon is low and in the dirt, finding the shoes of Hodap. 2-2 count. Bottom of the 5th inning, 5-all. Had multiple lead changes. Both teams have held leads in this game. Johnson twice, swing and a miss, and down on strikes is Hodap. She becomes strikeout victim number 2 for Dixon in this showdown. So Scotties not back up after falling down 5-3 in the top half of the 5th. A 2-run homer by Sydney Anderson is the answer by the Scotties to tie this at 5 after 5 full innings of action for Highland, taking on Johnson County and college softball here on the Scotty Sports Network.
Highland Community College surprises a lot of people. Generally thought as one of the smallest, Highland is actually in the middle of the 19 Kansas community colleges in enrollment. Its Highland campus has a real college feel with housing, athletics, student organizations, theater, concerts, art shows, an operating farm, and distinctive academic programs in its regional centers that cover the college's 9-county service area in northeast Kansas. Viticulture, enology, precision agriculture, diesel, construction technology, early childhood. Check it out, Highland Community College, online at highlandcc.edu.
Knotted up at 5 apiece. The Scotties get the 2-run homer from Sydney Anderson, and that tied it up in the bottom half of the 5th inning. We go to the top of the 6th. Johnson County now due up here with Allie Hyman leading the way. The only gal that didn't come to the plate in the 5th inning. That plated 4 of the 5 runs for Johnson County. First pitch strike from Jalissa Ortega, who is, of course, in relief of starter Kelly Youthy for the Scotties. Kelly went 4+ innings of action, but surrendered 2 of the 4 runs in that 5th inning, and 3 runs overall. That fouled off and out of play. Nearly headed to the Johnson County bus on the third base side. 0-2 the count pretty quickly to the third baseman for Johnson County, Allie Hyman, who's the number 8 spot in the lineup. Alexis Ramos is the number 9 spot, due up next. That wildly misses past the glove of Hernandez. Nobody on base, so it doesn't really matter. Sam Moran and Haley Donaldson go into the circle, give Ortega a little vote of confidence. Time called as a ball had made its way into the field of play. Out in left field. Ortega with the 1-2 count here against Hyman. Opening up the top half of the 6th. That fouled off and never make it really out of the batter's box, but got contact, did Hyman. Hyman 0 for 2 with a line out to the first baseman. Haley Donaldson was right on top of that. That ended a scoring threat in the 4th inning, where they had 2 on and 2 outs for Johnson. Got nothing out of that. That's popped up into the air in the infield. Cami Zimmerman tracking in towards second, able to haul it home. And the pop-up in the infield is out number 1. So Hyman now 0 for 3 in the game. Ramos, she's 1 for 2 with a single and a run scored. Scored 1 of the 4 runs in the 5th inning. Called time for a moment. We'll step back out of the batter's box with the second baseman for Johnson. Scotties looking to hand Johnson County their first loss in conference play. This is a little chopper out of the circle, a little scoop play, and didn't even pull it out of the glove. Jalissa Ortega scoops it up with the leather, tosses it out of the leather directly, and over to the first baseman, Haley Donaldson, who was covering with ease. 1-3 on the putout on the ground ball. And to the top half of the order we go. A 2-for-3 performance for this gal, Sammy Bates, who's one of the best hitters on the Johnson County team. We found that out, unfortunately, in the hard way for the Scotties. A 2-run homer. Ooh, and then wears one right in the small of the back. And a hit batsman will give the second free pass of the ball game, both by Ortega, as Ortega hits Bates, and she gets on base for the third time today. She struck out very first at bat against Youthy to open up the game, one of 2 Kelly Youthy strikeouts, but then bolstered a double, scored the run in the third, had a 2-run shot in the 5th for the home run, and then now is on base via a hit batsman. And a first pitch strike to Bailey Nelson, who was on the move out of the batter's box for a little slap hit, perhaps. And Nelson is 3 for 3 with a RBI. Nelson's been a tough bat to pull out here. Wesley they're going to misplay that. It sails over her head, and Nelson's got extra bases this time around, and it's going to be Johnson regaining the lead again. All the way first to home is Bates. Bates was turning on the jets, and that thing sailed over Alyssa Wesley's head. She had to come in. She was playing a little bit closer to the line than where the ball was hit, and Nelson then sailed it over the top of Wesley's head for the RBI double. And Nelson putting together a spectacular performance for Johnson. Again, a potent thorn in the side of the Scotties today has been Nelson, who's at second base. First pitch strike fired in to Madison Winger. Madison is hit into 2 double plays and 0 for 3 overall. You don't need a double play here. You just need 1 out. But Scotties again will have to battle from behind, which they've done multiple times already in this ball game. And Ortega catches the lower portion of the strike zone on the outer part of the plate for strike 2. And now the count has moved to 0-2 in favor of Ortega and the Scotty defense. Johnson County scored a run in the 3rd, 4 in the 5th, and another run here in the 6th. That's shot out of play and will make its way to bounce off the Cavalier off the bus. Barely grazing it, not like it shattered a window or anything. The wind is picked up, and again it's blowing across the field from the first base side. Cooler temperature now, at least it feels that way because the sun is dipped behind the clouds. Pitch off the plate. Hernandez trying to bring it back and frame it home for Ortega, but it's the ball. 1-2 the count. To Winger. Scotties were down initially in the ball game. 1-0. And Ortega again just missing outside. Now 2-2 the count. So Johnson County led 1-0 in this ball game after they were at bat in the top half of the 3rd. Scotties tied it with a run in the bottom half of the 3rd inning. Scotties took the lead with 2 runs in the bottom of the 4th. They led 3-1. Johnson tied it with a 2-run homer in the 5th inning, then scored 2 more in the 5th by sending 8 to the plate overall, and they regained the lead at 5-3 at that point. Here's Ortega's pitch. This one shot out there, and it's going to find the gap as well, and it's going to find over the fence. A 2-run homer by Winger. Winger hadn't gotten a single hit all game, and she finds a really opportune time to get herself a big hit there. This is a 3-run inning, and while Highland seemingly has had answers for Johnson's offense, Johnson has, you can say the same, has had answers as well. Scotties have led only just once at 5-3, or excuse me, at 3-1. They tied it at 5 with 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th inning. But here again, Johnson has snagged the lead back once more for themselves. So this is the 3rd time that Johnson has taken the lead, this time with 3 runs in the top of the 6th inning. 2 outs there is. The pitch kisses the outside part of the plate for Shea Tilbert, first strike. 0 for 2 with a run scored and a walk for the left fielder for Johnson here today. But all this being done with 2 outs as well for these 3 runs. Fouled off, dead ball. It lands right in front of home plate. 0-2 the count. Ortega has entered the fold, but given up 3 extra base hits during that time frame, 2 free passes, and also an error behind her too during the time frame she's been on as the pitcher for the Scotties. And Jalissa misses outside that time. Well, Scotties will have to pull some more valiant efforts on offense, which we've seen so far, and we're not going to discount the Scotties by any means because they can put the other offense to sharply hit over to Daniels at shortstop. Maya fires over to first, 6-3 on the putout, and that will end the top half of the 6th inning. But a couple of hits and a hit batsman, including a 2-run homer by Madison Winger, get 3 runs total for Johnson in the top of the 6th inning. And Johnson has pushed it back to their lead in this showdown as Highland trails it by 3. As we go to the bottom of the 6th inning, Highland will send to the plate the bottom of the order, Zimmerman, Donaldson, and Wesley when we return here on the Scotty Sports Network. Highland trailing 8-5 to Johnson County.
Highland's new precision agriculture program was designed for the farmer or related farm worker of the future. The future arrived quickly. Today's agricultural work goes beyond the field and barn to the computer, the satellite, the drone, the research lab. Aligning all these aspects precisely for the individual, field, and crop is provided by Highland's Precision Ag program. Centered in Baileyville at the College Western Center, this program can provide you with experience in understanding and applying modern farming methods. Check it out.
So the Scotties have found themselves down multiple times in this ball game, but they haven't been rattled. They've showed some great wherewithal thus far in this showdown and have been able to, take care of business as far as making this an interesting contest because they took the lead. They tied it at 5, only to see Johnson County have an answer every single time in the showdown thus far. So the Scotties find themselves down again here in the matchup. Set to get things in motion is Zimmerman in this half inning. Cammy on the day thus far, 1 for 2 performance with a single her last time up as part of the 2-run 4th inning that sent 8 to the plate. They left the bases loaded at the Scotties, though. Zimmerman gets a piece of it but shoots it high in the air out towards right field, and Bates is there to track it down for out number 1. Haley Donaldson, she's been on base twice in her 2 plate appearances on the day. So her on-base percentage going up a bit for Donaldson thus far. Haley got the first hit of the ball game for Highland. That came in the 3rd inning. She scored the first run of the game for the Scotties, too. Maybe will be the ignition switch again, but pops it right back to the pitcher on a ground ball and an easy play for Dixon. 1-3, and now 2 away, just like that, and a snap of the fingers for Johnson County. In the bottom of the 6th inning, Highland now down with 2 outs here in the bottom of the 6th. Dixon winds and fires, and this one pop up there is going to have to hit the shortstop, and no play at first. And Wesley will be safe at first. Hit the 3rd baseman and popped up over a glove off the carom. The shortstop Bernhardt was able to get a hold of it, and Bernhardt did that earlier and was able to actually record the out against Baldridge. This time around, Wesley is able to get on base for the Scotties. So Highland getting a base runner here. Give Alyssa Wesley the single. I'm not sure. I mean, it was a tough play for the 3rd baseman. It kind of ate her up at that point, but that's what they'll call it, a single for Wesley. And that one popped over to the, rolling to the shortstop, I should say. And rolling to the shortstop will go for a 6-3 putout. So a 1-out single by Wesley doesn't get anything out of the situation for the Scotties. And just like that, 6 innings of action are in the books here at Scotty Park. Highland trails 8-5 against Johnson County here on the Scotty Sports Network.
Get all the latest news on Highland Community College athletics by checking out ScottyAthletics.com. From recaps of the latest game action, schedules, stats, player features, athletes of the week, and much more. All you need to know about Highland Community College sports at your fingertips at ScottyAthletics.com. Make sure to also follow us on Twitter at HCC Scotties and on Facebook.
So the Scotty's going to need a strong defensive display right here and keep the lead at the margin that it is at this point for Johnson County. Johnson County has answered the call every single time. Highland has come and got this one either in their favor when they led once or tied it. Johnson County has regained the lead. They took the initial lead. First pitch ball to Haley Bryn. Bryn, Dixon, and Orander, the gals due up here in the top of the 7th inning against Jalissa Ortega. Ortega winds, fires, and straight down the pipe for a strike. 1-1 the count. Bryn, thus far in the game, is 1 for 3. RBI double and a run scored. Scored actually on the error, and that popped up on the first base side and foul off the netting for strike 2. Johnson County taking the initial lead with a run in the 3rd inning on an RBI single after a double by Bates. Then Nelson had the RBI single to get them on the board with 1 run. Scotty has an answer. That RBI double by Samaran. Called strike 3. Backwards K for Ortega is a great way to open up the top of the 7th inning for the Scotties. 1 away here in the top of the 7th. Highland took the lead with 2 runs in the 4th, but left the bases loaded in that situation as well. An RBI double by Aubrey Hernandez highlighting the frame, as well as Lexi Hodap with an RBI double too. As Ortega gets a gal to chase after it in Kerrigan Dixon. Dixon is 2 for 3, reached on an error the other time. Fouled that first pitch off the end of the barrel that time. Dixon inside the circle for Johnson County, trying to get another win for herself. She's been able to garner success there and rockets another one out to center field, just straight down the chute that time for another hit, the 3rd of the game for Dixon, and she's had herself a ball game. Dixon and Bates and Nelson, those 3 have been helping spearhead what Johnson County has done today. Dixon in multiple ways. Dixon 8-3 inside the circle this year. Highland trying to hand him 4th loss for Dixon, 8th loss overall. First conference loss as well, but Scotty's going to have to do it in come-from-behind fashion. First pitch strike. Orander at the plate, who's 1 for 3. Highland down by 3, 8-5. Again, normally we have, of course, the score bug on the broadcast for you, but malfunction with that here today. Pitch catches the outside part of the plate for a strike. Now 0-2 the count. So Johnson County up by 3, 8-5 lead. Soon, I can tell you this, we'll have multiple camera angles for our broadcasts. We've got some new equipment, courtesy of Rainbow Communications. I want to thank them for that, but we'll soon have a pretty good setup for our broadcasting here on the Scotty Sports Network. Ortega looking to get one more strike here against Orander with a 1-2 delivery on the way. Josa goes low, but gets it chop over to the shortstop. They flick to second, get that out over at second. So the fielder's choice is there as the throw towards first, a little offline. Doesn't allow any advancement, but 6-4 fielder's choice will allow Orander to be safe over at first and take Dixon off the base paths and make 2 away. So a new batter here. Allie Hyman will finish the day 0 for 3, and a new gal will come in to her spot. Jordan Clough. So Jordan Clough getting into this contest. Her first at bat coming in the top half of the 7th inning. Perhaps Jordan will also take over at third base, you would think, defensively for Hyman. Ortega with 1 on over at first. Pitch is low and away. Ball 1. The spot in the order, Hyman went 0 for 3, as I mentioned, in the contest. Actually, the only spot in the order that didn't reach base safely thus far through the competition. Of course, Jordan Clough can change that, perhaps. 2-0 the count. 2 outs. Top of the 7th inning. 8-5 lead. And they're going to put the flex player in for a pinch runner over at first. Tori Bernhardt, the flex player, is running for the designated player in Kelsey Orander. So easy change there. As the flex player, you can come in there and run for the designated player. Tori Bernhardt. Bernhardt playing shortstop today, but not in the official batting order. Just a defensive presence thus far. And now on the base bands here, perhaps a little bit more speedy, I would assume, just based on looking at the statistics and the sleight of built as well. As Ortega fires in a strike, and now 2-1 the count. So 2-1. Ortega trying to find that final out at the top of the 7th inning. Scotty's going to have nearly the top of the order. 2-3-4 up. They're going to throw down to first, try to pick the runner off. Back safely is Berhart. 3-1 now the count. Ortega needs to find the strike zone here. He'd have 2 on with 2 outs in the top half of the 7th. And pitch right down the heart of the plate that time. Not sure what Cloth didn't like about that pitch, perhaps to go after, but maybe a bit deceived, and it is a full count now. Strikeout would be huge, but you don't have to induce that. I guess you have 2 outs away, so any type of play you could get here. And this one ripped foul and out of play on the third base side. We'll do it again. Scotties have played a multitude of close games all throughout the course of the year. Not only 3 of their 4 losses are, by just 1 run. In games decided by 3 runs or less, they're 4-3. And this one's going to be keeping the inning alive. Sent out towards left field, and there's a single. So Jordan Cloth getting a single, coming in on her first plate appearance, and that also negates the thing I said earlier, that position in the batting order was the only position that didn't get on base. And Jordan negates that. Alexis Ramos, 1 for 3 performance with a run scored in that 4-run 5th. 2 on top of the 7th inning, and Johnson County trying to add to their lead, but it will be extinguished there on a ground ball out back to the pitcher. 1-3. Ortega lobs it over to Donaldson at first. So get a couple of hits in the inning and get 2 on, but they strand 2, does Johnson as well. And the Scotties will head to the bottom of the 7th inning, needing to get something rolling offensively for themselves because they're down by 3. 8-5 lead for Johnson County over the Scotties as we head to the bottom of the 7th here on the Scotty Sports Network.
If you have heard stories about college debt and what it is doing not only to the student who borrowed the money, but also to families who co-signed those loans, you may have concern about your own college future. Check out the difference it makes to attend Highland Community College before transferring to a 4-year institution. Going to Highland will save you thousands of dollars in college expense. Literally, you'll be able to start your life after college without the burden of debt that is impacting so many families. Check it out at highlandcc.edu. Highland Community College. From here, you can see anywhere.
On to the 7th inning we go. The Scotties trying to put some things together offensively for themselves. They've been able to mount a comeback every single time they've faced adversity thus far in the ball game. But we'll see if they can do that here. Allie Hyman does reinsert here in the ball game. She's at first base defensively for the action.
Number 3 is the center fielder, Kendra Baldridge.
Kendra Baldridge set to lead the offense here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. The Scotties trying to get it rolling here. Ultimately, got to get the offense started. Baldridge would be a good gal to do so to ignite the offense. Over the course of the season, she's had extremely good performances. Entered today with a 5-game hitting streak and is in jeopardy of losing that. She's 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored. And takes a first pitch strike here in the 7th. Kendra scored on a 2-run homer by the gal in the on-deck circle, Sydney Anderson, that tied it at 5 in the 5th. But, of course, Johnson had an answer in the 6th inning. Baldridge chases after it, goes after that, and now down to the count quickly is Kendra, 0-2. So 0-2 the count. Anderson and then Aubrey Hernandez. At this point in the order, I don't think you would probably perhaps have any gal come out in that situation. Both Hernandez and Anderson have had a solid day as well, and 3 potent bats, and that sails well over the head of the pitcher. That would have hit me in the face if it wasn't for the fence. Dixon continues to be inside the circle looking for the complete game, which will be her 10th of the season. ERA will take a little bit of a hit today for her. 1.87 ERA entering today, but has given up 5 runs to the Scotties. And Highland gets Baldridge to put it up into the air. It's just going to maybe trickle out just into center field. And charging hard was the center fielder, Bailey Nelson. Nelson in hot pursuit right behind the bag at second base and was able to charge in hard and get a good beat on that and was able to track it in. Shortstop was in pursuit too, and Bernhardt, but called off Bernhardt, did Nelson, and tracked it in. Baldridge is out number 1. Anderson, 2 for 3 performance. Sid, 2 runs scored. 2 RBIs as well with a double and a home run today. So a pair of extra base hits for Sydney Anderson, who's got a multitude of extra base hits over the course of the year. Now 20 extra base hits between doubles and home runs combined. Pitch comes in for a strike. Anderson watches one come across for strike 1. Again, this are the guys who perhaps want to be right there to ignite the offense. Can have a pitching change for the Scotties if needed as well, too, in this situation, if they can continue the game. Reagan Ham was warming up, just trotting back in towards the dugout. 1-0 the count. 8-5 lead, bottom of the 7th inning, and the top half of the 6th is when Johnson County regained their lead, plating 3 runs after Highland had tied it at 5. And Dixon, paints it across the outside part of the plate. Anderson kind of nods her head in agreement, unfortunately. I mean, that ball was definitely peeling outside, but apparently caught the outer portion of the plate. That call has been pretty consistent, though, from home plate umpire today. Both pitchers, or all 3 pitchers that have pitched in the game, have gotten that call. Lower jam shot. Anderson trying to charge and beat out the throw over to first. It's there. 5-3 on the putout. Play by the third baseman. 2 up, 2 down. Hyman, by the way, came back in to play defense at third, where she normally was. I said first base, but she's actually at third, so Jordan Clouth actually came in to bat for her, but then Hyman reinserted for defensive purposes back at third. So the defense never actually changed for Johnson County. Pitch low and inside to Aubrey Hernandez, ball 1. Aubrey 1 for 3, in the game with an RBI double. Run scored, too, in the 4th inning. That's where the Scotties, though, left 3 on base and had a great scoring position there. Opportunity. Here's the shortstop. Berhardt fires over to first, and 6-3. And 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th inning. 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th allows the Johnson County Cavaliers to earn the victory in Game 1 of the doubleheader. 8-5 win for Johnson County. Post-game wrap-up when we return after this short break here on Scotty Sports Network.
Watch all the... Now you can catch the latest game action and special features on teams and players with programs like Scotty Sports Talk. Find links to Scotty Sports Network under the Fan Zone tab at ScottyAthletics.com and subscribe.
Or related farm worker of the future. The future arrived quickly. Today's agricultural work goes beyond the field and barn to the computer, the satellite, the drone, the research lab, aligning all these aspects precisely for the individual, field, and crop.
Wrapping it up here for Game 1 of the doubleheader as the Scotties fall 8-5 in the showdown to Johnson County. Johnson County remains 16-7 overall. The Scotties fall to 19-5.